we are here making an assumption. What if it doesn't work?
When you ask questions like that, it's very easy to answer. You mentioned one word in there, assumption. We don't do assumptions, it's calculated. Everything that we do is calculated.
What is it in for you? Why would you do that?
Sometimes people ask us that, and I always find it interesting where would you say you are on a scale of 1 to 10 with regards to what we do, what I've explained to you today?
6.
6 is quite low after everything that I've described.
So if I cannot make any money here after 3 months, and I honestly put my effort there, I totally lose this money.
Why would you not make money if you put in all the effort?
I am curious to try it.
Hey, how are you? You okay?
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, and you? Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Very good. Great to have you here today. Where are you dialing in from?
Where am I from? Where I live? I live in London, and I'm originally from Iran.
Nice. How long have you lived in London?
In London, the city itself, 2 years. In England, 5 years.
Nice. Whereabouts are you in London?
Surbiton, southwest.
Southwest. I'm actually down in Surrey, a little bit further south than you. I'm in a little town called Caterham, which is like near Epsom.
Okay, I know Epsom. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Where were you before London?
Norwich.
Norwich. Oh wow, that's quite a change of scenery for you.
Yeah, I had a remote job, so I could move after Corona pandemic. Yeah.
Nice. I love that. Okay. Sarah, I want to respect your time. Tell me what's brought you here today?
So I read the book of Vincent before.
Wow.
And I saw this advertisement on my Instagram because I didn't know he does courses and these things. And it's like more than 6 months or so. I'm trying to start my own business. I was a researcher before, working for different biotech companies. And I like investing in a house. I have some cash money, but I don't know how. I want to know more about how is his way of doing things. So
Okay. That's fantastic that you kind of know of him before. I mean, look, Vincent's known as the mentor's mentor in the industry. He's taught many of the kind of gurus and property trainers, Samuel Leeds, John McFadden, etc. So many big names, and yeah, he's been doing it for a long time. Books published by some of the biggest publishers in the world. Wiley, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, a few books.
I read
Yeah,
this one.
brilliant. One of his best ones. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Oh, I'll tell you what. I've got something in mind. I'm going to get a present for you at the end of at the end of this. But we'll go through the meeting first anyway. Okay. Property investment. How long have you wanted to invest in property?
Actually, I'm kind of doing it, but like traditional way.
Okay.
So I lived before in Netherlands, which also was interesting for me because Vincent apparently it does investment there as well. I know it's not easy because it's a very social country. So I had a house there. I sold it 100K more than I bought it.
Wow.
I brought the money to England. I bought another house. I renovated it and lived in it myself for 2 years. Sold it with 80K profit.
Really good. Really good work.
While I was working, so I didn't have
Wow.
myself. Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
I did a lot of changes to the building. It was a very old building. I removed walls, all the flooring, heating, electricity, all the doors, radiators, everything. I changed the kitchen. So I bought for 208. I sold for 330 and I lived in it for 2 years myself. So
that's pretty good going. That is pretty good going.
And then the cash I made there, I used to buy my flat in London.
Okay, the one in Surbiton.
Yes, the one I did.
Perfect. So you own that property in Surbiton.
Half of it, half is mortgage.
Half the bank. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So you own that. Got you. Okay. Do you have any other buy-to-let properties currently?
No, so that's actually, so I left my job last year myself because it was giving me too much stress. I was getting sick. I started having anxiety for 2 months, and then I thought
Wow.
I'm done with this. And meanwhile, because I had a good salary, I could save some money. So that's why I'm trying different things, different investments, different. But property is something I really like. So, and I
Okay.
could prove myself I can do something there.
Yeah.
But the point is that I couldn't find a good deal here. Honestly, I attended some auctions and I couldn't. I don't have enough cash to put suddenly in and double it
Okay.
or what. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
Um, can I ask you a personal question?
sure.
Why now, Sarah? Why are you kind of doing this now?
Because now I'm a bit more financially stable. So before I was working, I didn't have time. So I kind of did it with my own property, but I couldn't really do much. I didn't have
Yeah.
time to search for a good case. I didn't have cash to buy it, all that.
Okay. All right. Fine. What is your source of income at the moment? Or have you not got one? It's kind of just like there's a pot of money that you've got there, like savings.
I have a part of money that I don't want to touch because I put it in Isaiah stock market and it's doing well. And it's
Okay.
kind of my retirement money out now, which I'm handling myself. But I have a bit more,
Hmm.
which again now at this moment is in stock market. But because I'm doing the stock market for more than 8 years, maybe more, 10 years, and I made a lot of money there. But the problem is that so when you buy a property, you are having some income for letting it, and also it's the value of the property goes up. So that's something I miss in the stock market. I am mostly trading at this moment. I have an online shop which doesn't make any money. The money I make to pay my mortgage is from the trading.
Okay. Okay. Got you. I guess if you were to put that money or invest into property, the property market goes up. I mean, probably more than the FTSE 500 anyway. But it's also a cash flowing asset, isn't it? Property. It's a cash flowing asset if you've
It's
got a
true.
buy to let portfolio. So, okay, fine. So, how much liquid cash have you got available for your first project?
So I have maximum 300, 30,000, sorry, 30,000.
30K.
But that's including all the, I don't know, solicitor costs, everything
Yeah, yeah,
else.
yeah. Yeah, okay. So 30K liquid cash for your first project, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Fine. All right. Look, I've got to ask, what's kind of stopping you from doing this on your own?
The problem is that I couldn't find, so I don't want to get another loan. I don't
Okay.
want another mortgage. Because I can get a mortgage, but for buy to let probably, but it's a bit difficult because I don't have a steady income that I can prove, and the percentage of interest is very high.
Yeah.
A lot of things, and I want to be able to manage that property, so I check around me, and around me properties are very expensive. So I started looking into auction recently, and
Okay.
I found one for 100K, which I could put maybe use my eyes or stuff. But there I was there, and it was sold for 270. The property was too good, so it was all gone.
Yeah.
So I thought to
Maybe
see how is this method going, because it was even mentioned that you don't need any money, and that was interesting for me. But I don't want to borrow money from others, so I want to see how this stuff work.
why don't you like to borrow money from others?
Not for the first one, let's say, but I want to see how it works, how is it looking like, and I have a little bit cash to invest in this new thing.
I think with the cash you've got available, you can certainly do it without using investor finance. You can do it.
Okay.
We've had people come into the community, being completely honest, with £4,000-5,000,
Okay.
and they have grown a £3 million portfolio in 18 months. You
That's
can
good.
do it, but I think ultimately, and I think you even said this yourself, that it ultimately comes down to kind of knowledge and support.
Yeah.
You can have all the information there, but unless you can put all the pieces of the puzzle together yourself, it's still quite tricky. We're talking about growing multi-million pound portfolios. It's not easy, but if you know how and where to look, and you have a support network around you, I honestly think as long as you have ambition and willpower and you're willing to put in the work, you can do anything. I really do believe that. I really respect you as well for not staying in a job that wasn't fulfilling your purpose and was just causing stress. I really do respect that, because so I came across Vincent, you probably did before me, but I came across Vincent in November last year. And my goal and my dream was to quit my job. And I quit my job in February this year.
Good.
After working with Vincent and the team there. But that was a dream that I had probably for about 3 years. And I started an Amazon FBA. I was selling on Amazon. Sounds like you're doing drop shipping, if I get.
I do print on demand.
Okay, fine. So
Similar. Yeah, I tried
similar.
drop shipping. I wanted to try, but I thought it's not for me. So I
No.
checked
But
it.
this is the thing. We've both gone down a similar rabbit hole. I looked at drop shipping, Amazon FBA, which I did,
Yeah.
affiliate marketing, all of this
Affiliate
kind of.
I'm doing also.
Yeah. All right. This is what I'm saying. So I can really relate to you because we had the same goals. But I think I've been in property actually for 10 years, most of it as an estate agent. And so my dad has been doing trading for 21, 22 years. And he's made millions through trading, but he's also lost a lot of money along the way.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like, I know you've been doing it for 8 years, but for me, I feel like you have to have a real understanding on the markets, how and why they kind of peak and trough, to be able to actually put your money in and really invest it. And for me, that was enough for me to not do it. Whereas I know that property is my passion. Property is what I'm good at and what I love doing. So I've been in it for 10 years. Why not actually explore becoming a property entrepreneur? And that is what I did. And only then I was able to quit my job. So I can relate to you because I've been down a rabbit hole as well. But if it is a passion of yours and you can work alongside someone that you obviously respect, like Vincent, that you do, then that is something that I would highly recommend you explore. What are your goals here through property? Like, let's say if it's to grow a cash flowing portfolio per month, what does that look like per month for you to be able to live comfortably, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So the first thing is, of course, that to have a income stream monthly to pay my mortgage. The mortgage is 1,200. Living costs 500 to 1,000, let's say.
Mhm.
So I will be good with 2,000 cash flow per month.
Okay, that's an incredibly achievable goal.
Yeah, but I am looking at long term, because my dream was to. It's not wrong to say retire early, because I like to work till I die, but I don't like to work for someone else.
Yes.
So that's something I hope. Meanwhile, so I can confidently start doing my own business, my own thing, so I don't have to get to a 9 to 5 job anymore. I have my own.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, fine. So the short term is 2K, but ultimately the bigger picture is just to grow, to keep growing a cash flowing portfolio. Okay. Do you have any idea in mind or any plan in place to create a cash flowing portfolio of at least £2,000 a month yourself?
You meant with the property idea.
Yeah.
So I am making that half of it basically from my trading at this moment. But I have thought of two things. So I thought of buying or renting properties to Airbnb, so short-term thing. I'm making extra income like that.
Okay.
Buy to let. I don't know what flipping.
Okay. So
I like renovating and these things a lot, so that's also something I would like
you
to
like
do.
renovating. How many projects would you say you've done?
Well, the both houses I had before I did. Yeah, the first one was extension. The second one was completely renovating inside, completely.
Okay, perfect. That might come in handy. One thing I will say first and foremost, stop going to auctions. Forget about auctions. Um, auction, at least for now, at least for now. You can, of course, make good money from going to an auction, but you have to really know what you're doing, and you have to have the money behind you to be able to do it. So at an auction, you have to be able to purchase a property within 28 days. You have to be able to
Yeah,
complete in 28 days.
it's cash.
You're not going to be able to do that if you've only got 30K. You need to be a cash buyer in order to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. A lot of these properties, most, not all, most of these properties that sell at auction are in an auction because they're not fit to be on the open market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. And I can imagine, at least the first one was quite I have a friend of engineer. He had to come and check the house because the house had huge problems, and
Yeah.
those are normally having. But it was again sold for 3 times more, which was half of the value still, but too expensive for me to invest at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to change that. Hopefully, we're going to change that for you. So, look, I don't know if you've got a pen and paper. I'm going to go through a lot of information. Perfect. I really appreciate you being open and honest with me there. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you feel like I should know?
Um,
No?
no.
Okay, perfect. Um, look, where do you want to go from here? Do you want me to run you through the A to Z and what we do? Where do you want to go from here?
I want to know how is the system working first. Yes, please.
Perfect. All right. Now listen, I think everyone is different and our solutions are tailor-made for the client. So again, I appreciate you being honest with me at the start. It kind of helps me be able to put together a program for you. I think with the knowledge that you've already got and the experience that you've got in property, which is pretty good, I would say, up until now, there would be 4 methods that we would work with you on, okay? And I think 4 methods is what you would need to really be able to build your portfolio. So if you wrote 1 through to 4, I can run through the details with you now. Now, I think everyone is kind of most people are under the misconception that it is essential, the exact location that you buy in, because of price appreciation. What areas are going to go up more than others? The problem with that, if you're factoring that into your business model, is you're at the mercy of the market for the next 3 to 5 years before you're able to refinance that property and go and buy another one. The problem with that is it's then going to take you 10 to 15 years to get a portfolio of about 3 properties. 3 properties aren't going to be life-changing. A lot can happen in 10, 15 years. Now, you're a homeowner currently. If you were going to sell your property, you're probably going to get 2 or 3 of the local estate agents in. They are going to give you their marketing strategy. They're also going to give you a price. We're all human. You're probably going to go with the highest price. But where does that leave Rightmove and Zoopla? If they are the biggest online web portals with a load of inflated prices, right?
Mhm.
Off subject, have you ever bought a second-hand car before?
Yes, my current car.
Perfect, fine. Where do you think you could get the cheapest price or the lowest price for a second-hand car? From a big car dealership or just from a car owner directly?
Wow, that's something to consider because I won't buy directly from the owner because when I buy from the dealer, I know it's been checked. And because I'm
Okay,
not a mechanic, so I don't trust
all
to
right.
buy directly from the owner. Well, the first car I had in Belgium was from a owner, but I knew the owner. I mean, I knew 2 people. So
I got
I
you, I
knew
got you. All right. To get the condition of the car, or where do you think the dealership buys it from?
from a owner, of course. I get what your point because of course the dealer will get some money in between. It's with everything we do, even the
Of course.
groceries, like it's buying
Yeah,
from the farmer directly.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And this is the point I'm trying to make. But when people buy property, they go to the big dealership,
Yeah.
the estate agent, all the time. They never go to the homeowner.
Yeah, but I was wondering how because I haven't finished the book yet. How should I find these people?
Right. Okay. This is what we're doing. So we've got access to off-market channels and teach alternative methods
Okay.
where you're securing property between a 20 to 40% below the market value. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Now we
that's
had
the
someone,
part I wanted to
yeah, okay.
know.
Now, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing, right? Now we had someone earlier this week secure a property 48.5% below the market value. I want to manage your expectations. It's typically between 20 and 40.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does that look like? Last week, I'll use this example. We had a lady that secured a property at 220K, £220,000. All right. After crunching numbers with her coach, who she meets with once a week, just like we are right now on Zoom, the market value of that property was actually just over 300K.
Hmm.
She bought at 220, refinanced at 300. Dara, she made £80,000 just by buying that property. Any property is a good investment if you can get it at the right price.
Yeah.
That's our
But
BMV strategy, below market value. What
where did
questions do
she
you have on
got
that?
the first 200 to pay? So
2 ways you can buy that property: with a mortgage or with an investor, cash.
basically you kind of, if you want to put cash yourself as well, you kind of collaborate with an
Yes,
investor to buy it. Is it like that?
yes, exactly like that. You can do that. You can use 100% of their funds. You can just get a mortgage. You can use a bridging loan. any of these things. But when you're working closely with your coach would recommend what would be best for that opportunity that you find with the help of your coach. Make sense?
Yeah. And then how do you pay back the investor? So that's, I guess, the most important part for me, because what if I buy this property and then I cannot sell it or refinance it for a better price, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So I can answer that this way. You kind of understand the crux of that method, below market value.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let me explain it this way. And this is actually method number 2. Vincent Wong's been investing in property in the UK since 2003, but teaching since 2009. Between 2003 2009, had the biggest deal sourcing company in the UK. All right. But in 2007, 2008, we had the credit crisis, the credit crash in the UK. It was very tricky to get a mortgage, but he was finding a load of below market value opportunities, but couldn't really do anything with them until he started working with investors. Now, an investor is cash rich, but time poor. And if you have a large amount of money sitting in the bank right now, because inflation is so high, you're losing money every single month. An investor knows they've got to make their money work for them. So how would we use investor finance? Let me explain with the method that I gave, the example that I gave. 220 purchase price. If you were to borrow 220k from an investor, you now become a cash buyer. You're more appealing to the homeowner. You can get the transaction done much quicker, much quicker. You buy it at 220, refinance at 300. You give the investor back 240k. They make £20,000. You make a good relationship. A good relationship is better than a good deal. That you are left with a property and 60k in equity, and you didn't spend any of your own finance. Now, you asked about the investor. Typically, what you would do is agree like an 8 to 10% return on investment, for example, and a time period. It can be whatever, 6 months, 12 months, whatever. Yeah. That return on investment for them is better than any savings account interest rate. They're not going to get those kind of numbers in a bank. Yeah. This method is our OPM strategy, simply stands for other people's money. Now, for a good deal, everyone's got to win some way. The seller, why would they be selling with you? You're providing a solution. You're able to give them finance, money fast, because you're going to work with an investor. So you're a cash buyer. Time is more valuable than money. They win a little bit. You're left with a property. You didn't spend any of your own finance. You certainly win. The investor, if they get around a 10% return on their investment, just call it 20k. Yeah. If they did 10 of those in a year, they're doing 200 grand a year. It's probably not even their primary source of income. Certainly valuable for them. It's almost as if you needed access to a community that had a load of investors.
Yeah. And so what worries me here is I buy the property for 220. It's a good deal. So it is a good thing. And then we are here making the assumption that I can for sure refinance it for the price I believe is the real value of the property, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully I have done my research and I'm sure that I can. So we have a time slot here with the investor. It's 6 months or so, for instance, and I have to pay back the money plus this extra interest, right?
Yep, yep.
And that's where I panic because what if it doesn't work?
Okay. I love questions like that. I love questions like that because when you ask questions like that, is very easy to answer. All right. You mentioned one word in there, assumption. We don't do assumptions. It's calculated. Everything that we do is calculated. Property is incredibly lucrative if you know what you're doing. Very costly if you don't. We know what we're doing. And so will you. Okay. If you bought a property at 220 and all of the comparable evidence within a half-mile radius of that property had all recently sold at 200, you are not going to be able to refinance that property at 300k. If all of the properties within a half-mile radius that have recently sold have all gone for 290, 325, 340, you are going to be able to refinance that property for at least 300k. This is fact. This is fact. Okay. And that is a what if. What if you bought a property just like any other average person, and then the market dipped, and then the banks increased their mortgage rates, which did happen, and they did. What happens there? There are factors that are out of our control. I don't want to tell you that everything that I'm going to discuss is 100% bulletproof, because life isn't. Tomorrow is promised to no man. You know what I mean? But what we're doing is calculated, very calculated, just as calculated as if you were to buy any old property on the street. The chances that you won't be able to refinance are just as high as the market taking a dip at the same time that interest rates climb. It's the same thing. Yeah. I've never seen that happen. I've always seen someone that has invested in a property always be able to see out the agreement that they enter with an investor. You're not going to say to the investor, I'm going to give you a 20% return on investment within 2 months, because it's not going to happen. And the best thing about what we're doing is the agreement that you enter with the investor is going to be overseen by your coach. Your coach is also going to help you, partner you with the investor. They're almost going to kind of structure that deal, if you like. So it makes it very, very hard for you to fail doing this. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So refinancing is also through bank, right?
Yeah.
So you have the guys who want to sell. You have the guys who want to invest. You are just looking for someone to do what?
We don't have the guys that are looking to sell. If you think
Okay.
that we've got like a right move of cheap properties, I'd love that to be the case, but sadly it doesn't exist. We do have the investors.
You have the investors only, and you're looking for the good sellers.
Yes.
Okay.
We're helping you do that. Yeah.
Okay, because again, if I could find good sellers myself, I would do that.
we wouldn't be having this conversation, Sarah.
Yeah. Good.
Yes. Okay. Does that make sense? The OPM method.
Yeah. And then one last thing, what was the cheapest price someone could start in this system? Because of course I want to have very low risk at the very beginning, at least the first year, just to know how it works. Is it for me or not, or what? So I don't want to suddenly borrow 220. I want to maximum 50 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. You can start with whatever you want to start with. And just to give you an example, the lady that bought that property at 220 and refinanced at 300, she only had like 5 or 6 grand to start. She only had enough to cover her solicitor fees, really. She bought a property using investor finance. Now she's left with a property, 60k in equity, and she's given the money back to the investor that he loaned her. Yeah. So you can start with nothing. I know you want to invest your own money in the first deal that you do, and that's not a bad idea at all. there will eventually become, like when I said to you, how are you going to grow a cash flow portfolio of £2,000? You're not going to be able to do that with just 30K. You're going to need to be able to raise finance from an investor somewhere. Yeah. But your first project, you can use the finance that you've got. And 30K, 20K, 15K is a fantastic start point for that. You might not be able to do it on your doorstep. Surbiton's not cheap. I know that.
Yeah.
So you might also want to think of an area in the UK where you target as a location that you might want to grow a portfolio. Perhaps Norwich, for example. Yeah, Norwich is a great one. It's a lovely town, city, with the river running through it. It's a really desirable part of the UK. So bear that in mind, something to think about. Now, method number 3 is how we flip a deal. I know you've taken on projects before, but don't worry, you don't need to roll up your sleeves and do 6 to 9 months worth of renovation works here with this flip. 2024, let's move with the times. All you need is a contract. The contract that you need is called a double settlement. A double settlement or a back-to-back agreement. Now, this is an incredibly clever way of raising capital. You might want to strongly think about the first 2-3 deals that you do being double settlement deals. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to grow a portfolio, okay? But the portfolio you want to grow is a freehold portfolio. So you don't have to deal with leaseholds down the line, okay? Now, you eventually will understand how and where you can find below market value opportunities. You'll get more confident at it. It will come pretty quickly, pretty naturally to you, trust me. But there will be someone who approaches you and says, listen, this is my situation. Can you help? What can you do? Maybe they've got a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment right by Surbiton station, for example. Now, it's a leasehold, so you don't really want to add it to your portfolio, but you also don't want to leave money on the table. So what you can do is a double settlement. Let me explain what that is. Let's say you agree a double settlement purchase price with a homeowner. Let's just call it 250K, 250 grand, all right? The market value of that property, let's just say is 300. We know what estate agents do. There's probably going to be similar property online at 320, at 330, something like that. But if you could source a buyer at 280, they would bite your arm off for that property. It's 40, 50,000 pounds cheaper than similar things online. But if you've agreed a double settlement price with a home at 250, if you source a new buyer at 280, what's the difference?
30.
Straight to your bank account via solicitors. And you don't even touch the keys. You're just a broker here.
So basically, you find a good deal and you tell about it to an investor. And
Yeah, exactly.
you just, it's basically you're doing the agent work between somehow.
Exactly. Very similar to what an agent does. You just flip it onto someone else.
Yeah, I like this one. I like this one at least to start with, because I won't be really in debt with anyone.
Okay.
Somehow,
fine.
right?
Yeah, because you're not committing to a property. You're not buying a property. You're not spending any money in tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had someone do 3 of these deals last week and made 95 grand.
Yeah.
All right?
So this is what I'd like to start with. I read it in the book as well, and I think this is for me a good start, because then I have enough cash to do my own investment, you know?
Okay. And with what you want to do or what you like to do is projects. I won't take that away from you. I'm not a big fan of the BRR method, but you've done projects before. You have a passion for property. So it completely makes sense to me as to why the projects that you do, even if it's for along the lines of a hobby, you buy a property for cheap, below market value, you do renovation work to it, and you make money on it. That's your hobby. That's what you want to do. So if you were raising capital by doing double settlement deals,
Yeah.
you're now in a position where you're able to do that.
Yeah. So that's what I like to do, actually.
Are you on a laptop, Sarah, or
Yes.
computer? Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to pop something in the chat box. I don't know if you can see that there.
It's a VMO.
Yeah.
VMO
If
link.
you could,
Yeah.
if you click on that, it's only about a minute long. But if you can watch that, that would be brilliant. But it's one of our previous students.
Okay.
Who, yeah,
I know. Is it the one on the website as well? I think his face is familiar.
it might be Daniel Kennedy.
Yeah. So I finished watching. Yeah. So this is
Yeah,
this method you were talking about. This last
that's a
one.
double settlement. Sarah, I'd love to tell you that every deal that you do is going to be around about 170 grand. Sadly, that's probably not going to be the case. I'd love it if it was, but just to give you an idea, we also had someone last week who is in university, and the first deal she did was 14K, 1-4. Far from life changing, I know, but it's just to give you an idea that doing a double settlement is just a great way to raise capital. Yeah, especially if you're going to be doing it in and around London, which is where Daniel Kennedy does his below market value deals. You're going to be working with bigger numbers. There's no reason why you can't do numbers that are 6 figures plus. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do
Great.
you learn to do these things? Because I don't have the specialty to do this definitely at this moment.
I think you do. I think you do. You've got a passion for property. You're obviously not afraid to ask for help and to learn. So this is what we teach, and we do this with you. So 100% you can do this. Yeah.
Yep.
That's how we flip a deal anyway. Now, method number 4, the fourth and final method. Okay. This method is going to be well, let's see. Let's see if you find this one interesting. Have you heard of John D. Rockefeller?
Rockefeller. I heard the name.
Okay, Rockefeller, one of the richest people in the world. Yeah. And Rockefeller's quote, the key to wealth is control everything but own nothing.
Yeah.
What do you think he means by that?
How do I explain? I know what you mean because it was repeatedly also mentioned in the book as well.
Okay.
I think I would like that idea because for the Airbnb thing, I was looking for the deal like that because I wanted to be able to control, but I didn't need the property. So
Yeah, exactly that. And I can already see how this one is going to go. But all right, you know the biggest taxi company in the world, right?
Uber, like you mean Uber somehow?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Uber. How many cars do they own?
Nothing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Method number 4 is our purchase lease option method. Have you read about the purchase lease option, or do you know about it yet?
Yeah. Yeah. I read about it just a while ago, just to check what is the leasing meaning. And I have some questions about it, but you first maybe want to tell more, or you want me to ask first?
Let me give you a very brief overview on what it is, just so we can recap, and then 100% I want you to fire away with questions. So, a lease option, okay? Let's say you've got a landlord that's maybe overstretched themselves a little bit because they keep putting down 25% deposits. Cost of living's gone up a lot the last 2-3 years. They're struggling to pay that mortgage, okay? So what we would do is offer them a lease option and release them of that financial burden. Let's just say their mortgage is around about £800 a month. So what you would do is offer them a lease option, maybe pay them £1,000 a month, for example, release them of that financial burden. Now you are responsible for the condition of that property now. The boiler breaks or something like that is your responsibility. You've got to get it fixed. You're also going to agree today's value of that property, call it 300K, something like that. and you're going to agree a time frame, it's most often 5 years. Can be a bit less, can be a bit more. It's most often 5 years. In 5 years' time, you pay the previous homeowner £300,000.
Okay.
The thing is, in 5 years, yeah, in 5 years' time, it's probably worth about 450 grand. Yeah, you'll happily give them 300k. Now you keep the property, you keep 150k in equity, but remember, you're responsible for that property for 5 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
you're
you
going to rent it
paid,
out.
and you paid rent. So this I tried to do some quick calculations.
Yeah.
It is in the, I think it's normal, like 4% in London. I wouldn't. It can be more than 4% yearly increase in the house value, but I wouldn't do more than that in my calculations.
Yeah.
So let's say we have 4% every year in interest there. I am paying monthly 1,000 for rent, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how much I can let it, or whatever other plans you guys normally have to do with that. And then considering that money you are spending, it should be worth, right? At the end. And that's where I think I have to do very good math and be sure. And that's the part I was like a bit like hesitant. Is it worth or not? Because you can be unlucky and in 5 years the house prices crash. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Could I just answer that really quickly? It's a lease option. So you have the option to buy it, not the obligation. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a clause in the contract that stipulates you are able to either back out of that deal, bring the deal forward. So if the market comes up a lot and you just want to buy that property, you can bring it forward and purchase that property from the homeowner. Remember, you'd have to still pay them what you agreed to pay them, of course.
Yeah.
Or you can extend it as well. You can do all of those things, but the homeowner can't.
Okay.
Okay.
So they can
Hopefully
say,
that.
I don't want to do. And then
Correct.
meanwhile, what do you do with the property? You let it for how much? So for
Yeah.
instance,
So the tenant would pay you 1,500 or 1,600, for example.
so the value is more than that.
Yes. Yeah.
And how sure you will be to find a person to rent it from you? I mean, is it like
Easy, like
okay.
easily. Yeah. It's easier to find the tenant than it is for the landlord to find a landlord. Trust me. But yeah, of course, you know what rent's like in London. It's crazy, really sought after.
And then will you find people to do that? Because if I can rent it out for 1,500, why the owner wouldn't do this? I mean,
We are finding many people that want to do this, especially many more since the cost of living's gone up, mortgage rates have gone up. Believe me, there are so many that do this. We're working with landlords now that have got 60, 70, 80 properties. It is that is mathematically impossible if you were trying to put down 25% deposits. Mathematically impossible. Yeah. This is the best way to grow a portfolio like this size. Do you like the sound of this method?
and I kind of like it, but I will go with the previous one first, I think.
Yeah. Listen,
and then I would investigate the second one.
Yeah. Do
I
it.
am there to learn, I like to learn.
Exactly.
But I don't want to suddenly risk big, at the beginning.
Of course. I completely get that. And this is what we are here for. But I just want to say one last thing on the lease option method. it's actually an American business model. They
Mm.
started it over in the States because they are big in America of not owning anything and renting everything. So this is quite a big business model over in America. It actually came to the UK about 30 years ago now. Do you know who brought it over to the UK?
Vincent?
A man named Vincent Wong.
Yeah, can imagine. We do.
Lara, how do you feel about these 4 methods specifically?
Yeah.
Positive?
Yeah, so all of these, so I can imagine, especially for the last one, you need a very good, because the others will go through solicitor somehow, so you are not really worried for legal stuff. And
Yeah.
for the last one, I believe you already have a firm contract or so, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That
Same with a
no.
double settlement. We've got the
Yeah.
contracts for you just to use. And we've got a power team of solicitors. Make sense?
Yeah. And then what is it in for you? I'm sorry for asking that, but I'm just curious, why would you do that?
Okay. Sometimes people ask us that, and I always find it interesting when people ask about gatekeeping all of these secrets. If Vincent gatekept every secret about property investment, you wouldn't have that book sitting next to you.
No.
He wouldn't have had books published by some of the biggest publishers in the world. Some people have a higher purpose than just to keep their secrets to them. Vincent prides himself and the team around him. It's a very close team. So the head coach is his sister, Florence, as well. But I'd love for you to meet all of these people that I'm talking about one day. They pride themselves on the fact they have changed so many people's living situation, current situation, people that have come to Vincent in debt, working a 9 to 5 with mental health, anxiety, depression, which all of the above can give you so easily if you get caught up in the system. And after just 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, whatever, they're multi-millionaire property entrepreneurs. The purpose is much greater. The purpose is so much greater.
So I see the human side of it, because I see through his book also he keeps talking, because I had at the beginning when I read his book, like it's like buying cheap from people in need. So, and
Yeah.
that was like a bit ethically something I was staying back, but he keeps explaining, and then it makes sense somehow, because it's kind of a deal. I don't say like a charity, but again, everyone is benefiting in between. But I was still thinking, why would that? So what it came to my mind is that maybe he gains something in between because he has some investors to satisfy, or what would be something he gains? I mean, I can imagine it's nice of him doing this, but it's not enough, you know.
No, he makes money from training, if that's what you want me to say.
He makes money from what?
From training, from this program. Obviously,
Oh,
ton of value here. It's obviously not free.
okay.
He makes money from training. So the coaches that work with you also get paid.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
a big,
So now it's making sense slowly.
right. Yeah, it's all of the above. It's all of the above. But the coaches that work with you from day one, they also get paid. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we do a 3-month one-to-one mentorship. So not just give you all the information, because I'll be completely honest, even if you had all the information, you'd still probably struggle to grow a portfolio yourself. It's not easy. But you have a one-to-one coach, not a group call, one-to-one, just like we are right now. So what does that look like? every single week, 12 weeks, 3 months, you will meet with your coach at a day and a time that suits you, and you will also have them on WhatsApp. So if you find an opportunity on a Monday night or whatever, send all the details over to your coach. They will cross-reference it, second opinion, let you know if they think it's worth going for or not worth going for. When you find an opportunity, like a below market value opportunity, that you want to do a double settlement on, then that's what we're doing. You're going to take that on. They're going to help you source a buyer as well. Now you're doing your first double settlement deal. That is the value of accountability that a coach provides. Make sense?
Yeah. And then
yeah.
I'm sure you will get the price at the end. So.
Yeah. Oh no. There's a lot more than just that. There's a lot more than just that. You're obviously going to have a good relationship with your coach. So don't just think of it as 3 months. They have a minimum expectations on their part that they help you find 2 deals, by the way, 2 deals in 3 months at least. If you found 2 deals in 2 weeks, they don't just leave you be for the next 10 weeks. They stay with you to get as many as you can. But if you, in the unlikely circumstance, can't find 2 profitable deals in 3 months, they work with you for an extended period of time. You're always going to have your coach's contact details and you're going to have that relationship. So if you wanted to obviously ask them a question on the line, obviously they're going to be helping you out as well. That's the one-to-one side of things. I'll also invite you to join our school community, where there are tons of people just like yourself, people buying and selling deals in there. You've got the other coaches in there, previous success students. We've actually got people within that community that have been there 10 years plus. Our client retention is the highest in the industry because we pride ourselves on building a community where everyone is satisfied, everyone is happy. Customer feedback is everything for us because it enables us to keep going and keep getting bigger. Yeah. But more importantly, in the school community, you have access to about 100 hours of video content filmed by Vincent Wong, previous success students, his sister, other coaches, telling you how and where, the A to Z, on where you find these opportunities and how ultimately you can grow a portfolio, and all of the contracts for you to download. They're all on school. Make sense? I'd also invite you to join our Inner Circle WhatsApp community, where a ton of investors have paid to be a part of that community so they can invest in deals that you find. Your network is your net worth. And as if all of that wasn't enough, this is probably the bit that you would love the most. You get a 3-day masterclass with Vincent Wong himself, teaching you everything he knows about property, these methods, back to front, inside out, upside down, everything that you need to know. Does that all make sense?
Yes. So it looks like a very good deal. There are 2 things to consider there for me, because without this community, I wouldn't be able to do this method, I think. I don't have the access to the investors. I don't know how to find the deals, all that. So it makes the whole package work together as a package, right? So it's not like only a 3-month thing, but I will need to be there attached. I mean, I think at least for a long time, right?
Yeah.
How much that would cost me, all of it? Like,
okay. With the 2 communities, so the WhatsApp community and the school community, you actually get lifetime access to. It's not just 3 months. All right. Just before I go into the finance and the investment side of things, we've got the Haven alignment. Where would you say you are on a scale of 1 to 10 with regards to what we do, what I've explained to you today? 1 being, I don't think this could work for me, or 10, with your support, with Vincent Wong's help, I could see myself growing a portfolio. Where would you be on a scale of 1 to 10?
6, maybe.
6 is quite low after everything that I've described.
I want to be cautious about that. So
Forget cautious. I've got to be completely honest with you, and this is me talking to you as a coach. If you identified a below market value opportunity, 40% below the market value, if you sat there and said, I'm going to be cautious, I'm not going to go for it, then you shouldn't really be investing in property. An entrepreneur is a risk taker.
yeah, if I
You know what I'm
found
saying?
it. So my problem is that part that. So joining this group is costly, right? So it's not free, of course. So I don't know how much is that. You haven't mentioned it yet. The point is that, yeah, but you are also saying that you are kind of guaranteeing me working, doing all the coach says, I will find 2 deals, 3 deals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I am
Yes.
really curious how much does it cost me to join? Because this is something you are not mentioning.
Yes. I will mention it, but it doesn't sound like something that you want to do.
Why do you think if I didn't want, I wouldn't make an appointment today immediately,
True.
right? So
True. But after what I described, 6 out of 10 is surprised me. I thought this was more of something that you wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? I'm just trying to understand. That's all.
I think there's a percentage of risk everywhere. Like you easily have it with
I agree.
trading as well. You
Yeah.
don't win all the 100.
Okay.
It's enough you win 60% and you lose 40%, and then you are still 20% up.
Yeah.
So that's my mentality also with everything. And I try a lot of things in my life. So that
I can see
doesn't
it.
mean I will pull back.
All right.
I have the motivation for it, but I don't want to just go like, oh, 100%, and then there's always a chance that you cannot make it, right? So
Okay. All right. Well, if this is something that you want to do and something that you can see yourself doing, the investment, we mentioned some of the previous success students that have already done this portfolio builder program. Samuel Leeds, for example. Samuel Leeds charges £12,000 for his coaching. Touchstone charged £15,000 for the same thing. Rob Moore Property, I'm sure you've heard of Rob Moore, charges £20,000. Vincent Wong, the mentor's mentor, for lifetime access, it's just a one-off investment of 6,800, including VAT.
so it's 6,800.
Including VAT.
And how much that will be in total?
Excluding VAT.
VAT of 20%?
No, minus. So the total is 6,800. Excluding VAT, it's 5,666.
So it is including VAT,
Yeah.
6,800. And how do you expect to receive this? I mean, is it like so if I cannot make any money here after 3 months, and I honestly put my effort there, is I totally lose this money? Is it like that?
Why would you not make money if you put in all the effort and we put in the other 50%?
There is a risk in anything, right? So I should consider that.
Okay, I like this. Let's do this. You invest 6,800. It doesn't work. What happens? You learn some incredibly valuable life skills you meet and connect with some people, high net worth individuals that could very well come in value to you down the line. You won't die, and you will, at one stage in your life, make back that £6,800. Worst case, that is. But what's the best case? You invest 6,800. You acquire the skills to grow a multi-million-pound portfolio. You grow a multi-million-pound portfolio, and now you're living a life that you only ever dreamed of living. That's a hell of a trade-off.
I still need to think, because this method works only if you are in the community, if you stay there. So the knowledge I gain there, I believe it can be very valuable if you are in the system. Yeah, and what normally honestly happens with these things, they never talk about unsuccessful people. So I can imagine from 100 people, for instance, have a coach there. I trust Vincent. I'm sure he did all the work, but there is a percentage that cannot make it, right?
Yes,
Still,
there is. And I can tell you about those. There is 7% that over 15 years, no, 17 years, sorry. Over the 17 years we've been doing this, some people didn't succeed. Some people failed. 7% to be precise. The 7% that came into the community, I can tell you, the reason why they failed is they had completely the wrong mindset. They expected their coach to go out, do viewings for them, and put deals on their lap that they would then invest in. That is not what we do. So if that is what you're after, I can tell you right now, this isn't going to be a good fit for you. And we can wrap this up here. Because it's not what we do. We do a done with you method. We get in the trenches with you. We help you as much as we can, but it's not done for you. I will openly tell you that right now. And the 7% that came into the community that expected their coach to go and do everything for them, they failed. They did fail. I'm more than happy to tell you that.
yeah. So that's definitely not what I expect.
Right.
I think I have not enough information, maybe. Is there like a trial week or something I can start and see? For instance, maybe so as a coach, for instance, you tell me you need to make 100 calls per day, and I just cannot do that. And then you tell me, because you didn't do that, you couldn't make it. So that's your part, So I don't want to fall into that trap as well. So is there a way that I just try it for a short time and see, okay, this is something I can do, makes sense, the whole system to me, I am all in,
Yeah, there is a 2-week trial period.
Okay, so there is like a 2 week that I can say, okay, it's like a safety margin. I don't want it and I get my money back. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Cooling off period, 2 weeks, 14 days. Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds good, I think.
Dara, all we want, and for us to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger, which we have, is from clients being happy and success. We can't do that if people aren't succeeding. We can't do that if people aren't happy. Of course, we can give you a 2-week trial period, cooling off period, where if you are not happy, we completely cut ties, you get a full refund, and we go our separate ways. But we then need to learn why you weren't happy so we can avoid it from happening in the future.
Yeah. So I don't have any doubt from your side. And honestly, I received so many of these advertisements because I probably search too much on properties on internet and I get back.
Yeah.
And you are not the first interview I'm having. There were more people, and the price range was similar. So I am a bit familiar with this coach price. The only thing I doubt is myself, because I'm coming from a science background completely out of, I never was able to sell things other than to my friends and family. So
Bless you.
I doubt myself a bit, honestly, not your side. And I just want to see if is it something I can do? I mean, I am there to put out my effort. I don't have other income at this moment. So
Mhm.
I like it to work, and I for sure put all my energy there. But again, it is a good amount of money for me, considering I am unemployed at this moment. So I just want to have a bit of a guarantee thing, like
Yeah, I
which this
completely get
2 weeks makes sense, because you are putting your time and it's valuable. The information these days is the most valuable thing which you are sharing. And yeah, I
that.
think 2 weeks is okay.
Okay, I completely get that, because I do think that seeing is believing. And I want you in these 2 weeks, of course, to do everything you can, have that relationship with your coach, get them to set out a roadmap with them, because they're going to say to you, what do you want to achieve within these 3 months? What do you want to achieve? And the bigger picture, what is the bigger picture for you? Yeah, that is what they're going to ask you from day one. So have that in your mind. But let's do this 2 week trial, see how you go, and then we'll go from there. We'll go from there.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So these 2 weeks, do I learn enough to start? I mean, to start finding
100%.
deals? Okay.
100%. Yeah. You will have the exact same as everyone else had before you from day one. Is this something that you want to do?
Yeah, I am curious to try it.
All right. Let's get the ball rolling. So a 2 week trial. All right. If at the end of the 2 weeks you are not happy for any reason, we cut ties and you get a full refund. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's do that. Bear with me. What's the best email for you, Sarah, to the team? Your coach will be in touch with you today. Set out what the next 12 weeks looks like. Let them know your goals, what you want to achieve, and we're going to go from there. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see what we can do here.
Thank you. I'm stressed a bit, honestly. So
Don't
I
be.
made a
Don't be.
big purchase.
Yeah, 100%. But this is what I told you about if you found that 40% below market value, you've got to be able to act on it. And I can see that you're an entrepreneur, and I love that. And I love that you've got ambition, and I love that we're going to work together to grow that portfolio. That's the exciting part. Perfect. Sarah, enjoy the rest of the day. We'll get everything sent over to you shortly, and we'll go from there.
Great. Thank you very much.
Great to meet you. Take care, Sarah.